The best thing that ever happened to me was having my children.
The best thing was when my daughter was born.
The best thing that's ever happened to me is having my children.
The best thing that ever happened in my life was when I met Luca.
The best thing that's ever happened to me, I'm going cross-eyed, is having my children.
The best thing that ever happened to me was meeting my boyfriend. We've been together now for 12 years and we started a business together, and it's not all happy, but it mainly is, so that's okay.
Okay, the best thing that ever happened to me was graduating high school. I was very proud of myself.
The best thing that's ever happened to me is probably being discharged from a psychiatric unit with knowledge that I have the skills to progress further through my life and be a well person.
The best thing that ever happened to me was getting married 2 years ago.
The best thing that ever happened to me was meeting my partner, who's really cool, and we've been together for over 20 years now, so that's excellent.
The best thing that happened to me was leaving home and becoming independent.
The best thing that ever happened to me was meeting my boyfriend.
The best thing that ever happened to me was that I got a shit bag.
Thing that ever happened to me was my first ever Tottenham match. Oh, it was really good, really good.
The best thing was when I went to Australia and met my boyfriend.
Okay, the worst, that's the best, is having my children. Seeing them being born, that was one of the best things.
And the worst thing that ever happened to me was when I was on stage when I was 15 years old, my trousers fell down and I was humiliated.
Worst thing was when she was sick.
That's not that. What about your friend having... The worst thing was when my dad died.
And the worst thing is my dad marrying his new wife.
Okay, the worst thing that ever happened to me was, I suppose, when my mum and dad got divorced, and obviously the big change. We moved home and changed schools and everything, so it was a bit of a big change, and it was all quite difficult, but that's all over now.
The worst thing that ever happened to me was probably last week my grandmother died, and I was really close to her. So.
And the worst thing is probably losing two of my good friends to suicide. That's probably the worst thing.
The worst thing that ever happened to me was my sister dying.
The worst thing that ever happened to me was when my son was attacked in Portsmouth, but luckily survived. That's it.
And the worst thing that happened to me was illness through depression a couple of years ago.
The worst thing that ever happened to me was meeting a paedophile.
The worst thing that ever happened to me was I got a shit bag.
Worst thing, probably both of my gramps dying this year. Not good, but I'm surviving.
And I can't think of anything that was that tragic, but it was the worst thing.
And the worst is having an accident in Spain in 1988 when I was hit by a car in Spain and nearly killed. So that was my worst, definitely.